Yo, what's happening, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. Lovely to see ya as always. Today we're gonna jump into another video. Okay, this one apparently NASCAR failed in the United Kingdom, and I'm curious in finding out what the hell happened. What happened, bruv? Maybe I would have become a NASCAR fan a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? So let's go check out this video.
Today, NASCAR has an established presence in Europe. The NASCAR Euro Series races at circuits across the continent, with purpose-built V8 stock cars and an official sanction by NASCAR. But more than a decade before NASCAR officially put its name behind a European championship, another group tried something arguably even more ambitious. They wanted to take American-style stock car racing, put it on European ovals, attract some of Britain's biggest racing drivers, and build an entire entertainment package around it.
Who are the biggest racing drivers that they're looking at, though? What, Max Chilton, people from British Touring Championship or something like that? Obviously, they can have their own series. They're not going to be able to race in this at the same time, maybe? I don't know.
The result was ASCAR. Yes, that was the
ASCAR?
name. Don't laugh. For a very brief period in the early 2000s, it looked like stock car racing might actually have found a permanent home in Britain. The story really begins with Rockingham Motor Speedway, but not the one in North Carolina. Opened in 2001 near Corby in Northamptonshire, Rockingham was unlike almost anything else in British motorsport. Britain obviously has plenty of permanent road courses, and even an underrated history of short ovals, but Rockingham was designed around a large, minimally banked oval that could accommodate the kind of high-speed racing normally associated with the United States.
I have no idea we have that in this country, and it looks like it's got more than 4 corners. It's got like 6 corners. What? Let's have a count right quick. Would you call that just one corner? One corner there, another one, 1, 2, 3. Oh, I take it back. There's only 4 corners. Yep, take it back. Take back, sis. 4 corners, but one long straight though. This one is kind of long. All right, still 4 corners. I take it back.
Banked oval that could accommodate the kind of high-speed racing normally associated with the United States. It even hosted kart in 2001 and 2002. That made it an obvious center point for a new championship. ASCAR stood for Anglo-American Stock Car Racing, and the concept wasn't particularly subtle. The idea was to import much of the appeal of NASCAR and American stock car racing into Britain. Large V8s, oval racing, close competition, and an emphasis on entertainment.
But these are not like American cars though, right? I'm seeing the tail lights look a lot like European cars. That looks like a Ford Puma or something. I don't know what that is. What cars are these? But ASCAR though, man. That's a name I don't have. They could have called it something else. Boy.
The cars certainly look the part. Michigan-based Howe Racing Enterprises
Chevrolet.
constructed steel tube chassis derived from cars used in the American Speed Association, which at the time was an important stock car series in America. They were fitted with bodywork resembling the Chevy Monte Carlo, Ford Taurus, and Pontiac Grand Prix, the same basic models NASCAR fans were accustomed to seeing not only in the Winston Cup Series, but in series like ARCA and the ASA as well. The original test car produced around 565 horsepower, and despite its bigger size and relatively simple construction, it was quick. According to motorsport.com, in testing at Donington Park, the ASCAR was only around 2.5 seconds slower than a super touring car. The plan was not simply to create another small national racing championship. ASCAR was supposed to be a major spectator product. There were ambitions for large grids and recognizable drivers.
Yeah, look at that. A proper car as a safety car. Yes, sir. It's the BMW. Not that I have a bias towards BMWs. I love my BMWs. I actually do have a bias. I'm lying. There is a massive bias there. But look at that. Oh, that looks sick. Beautiful. Mwah.
Drivers. Rockingham could accommodate more than 40 cars, and organizers initially targeted a field of 32. The reality was considerably more difficult. ASCAR held its first public race at Rockingham on May 26, 2001. Only 19 cars had been talked about as the event approached, and the actual starting field was even smaller. More importantly, the cars had a serious mechanical problem. The original engine suffered from an oil surge caused by the sustained lateral forces of running around Rockingham's banking. Several engines failed during practice.
What? How is that a thing? Did they not take the same technology from the cars that run ovals in America and put it in the same in these cars? They should not be having this kind of problems, no? Or at least they should have ironed this out during testing.
Drivers were told to stay away from the rev limit in an effort to keep the cars alive. Only 12 cars eventually took the rolling start. John Cleland, already well known as a two-time British touring car champion, was leading when the event concluded, but the inaugural race had demonstrated that ASCAR still had a lot of work to do. The championship's original company then ran into financial trouble, and its calendar was suspended for several months. For a new racing series, that easily could have been the end of the story. Instead, team owner Bob Barrage took control through Oval Racing Management, with substantial financial backing from Rockingham itself. The unreliable original engines were replaced by 5.7-liter General Motors LS1 V8s,
Oh yeah,
imported from the US.
big boy engine.
ASCAR returned to Rockingham in August. This time, the cars worked. Around 15,000.
It's so stupid that they didn't have cars that would actually run. Didn't nobody test them? That's the first thing you do. Get a test car out there, run it, see what the problem is, fix it, and then do the whole series. You don't announce a series without testing the cars. What the hell are we doing? They're just asking for failure.
Spectators attended. John Mickle won the first proper race of the relaunch championship, and he eventually became ASCAR's inaugural champion. After almost collapsing immediately, ASCAR began gaining momentum. 2002 was probably the point at which the championship came closest to becoming something genuinely significant.
Oh, really?
Channel 4 picked up television coverage, support races were added to the events, organizers offered substantial prize money, and ASCAR began attracting drivers with serious international reputations. One of the biggest was Jason Plato. Plato had just won the 2001 British Touring Car Championship, making his decision to race in ASCAR a major publicity boost. He was also interested in using the series to gain oval experience in the hope of eventually racing in America. And he wasn't alone. Former kart driver Nicholas Manassian joined the grid. Darren Manning, Kelvin Burt, and McLaren test driver Darren Turner competed. Matt Neal made an appearance. So did motorcycle racer Aaron Slight.
Wow, okay.
Perhaps
a motorcycle racer as well wanted to get a slice of the pie? Hell yeah. I know Jason Plato from recent times because he was doing a whole bunch of Top Gear. No, not Top Gear. Fifth Gear. So I recognize him from there. And it was still racing British Touring Car Championship. Maybe like up until... Oh, I might be showing my age here now because I feel like it could possibly be like 10 years ago now. And I thought that was recent. Oh my gosh.
Rangers' guest appearance came from 1995 World Rally Champion Colin McRae, who raced at Rockingham with IndyCar star Dario Franchitti acting as his spotter. This wasn't a collection of British club racers driving NASCAR lookalikes. Some genuinely accomplished professional drivers were taking it seriously. ASCAR also expanded beyond Britain. The championship visited Eurospeedway Lausitz in Germany, another large American-style oval that had recently opened and was also hosting kart. The ambition was clearly to create something broader than a Rockingham-only series. But the limitations were already becoming apparent. Rain was a major problem. NASCAR's oval cars were fundamentally designed around dry weather racing.
Welcome to England. It rains 90% of the year. And you want to run NASCAR races that can't run in the rain? Whose idea was this to start with? They should have done all of this, what they call it, like research. That's the word I was looking for. They should have done the research. What issues affect NASCAR should be number one on the list. And then they talk about it and it says rain. Oh, okay, maybe we can't run that in England, right? Because it's always raining. That's what we complain about. We talk about the weather 24/7 in England. 24/7.
And events could be disrupted or canceled when the weather turned bad, which for a championship based primarily in Britain and Germany was not an insignificant problem. One Lausitz meeting in 2002 lost its Sunday race to rain. Another Rockingham race was also canceled in wet conditions. Goodyear experimented with a wet tire for potential use on Rockingham's infield road course, but that never developed into anything. There was also the issue of geography. A third planned 2002 visit to Lausitz was canceled, and organizers investigated other possible European venues, including a planned trioval at Abbeville in France and Venray in the Netherlands. Neither became the solution ASCAR needed. ASCAR had a few fundamental problems. It was expensive and there was a lack of big ovals in Europe to actually race on. In the series' history, it only ever raced at Rockingham and Eurospeedway Lausitz. Rockingham was providing enormous financial support, grids were still generally below 20 cars, and the series had not developed the recognition in America that some of the drivers had hoped it would. Drivers such as Plato had seen ASCAR as a possible stepping stone toward American stock car racing, but winning in Britain didn't even register to NASCAR teams on the other side of the Atlantic.
Damn.
At the same time, Rockingham needed larger crowds to justify the money being spent. The solution was to push the entertainment side even harder. By 2003, the race weekends increasingly combined racing with major music performances. The championship itself also underwent the first of several identity changes. According to former ASCAR press officer Neil Randon, NASCAR had raised objections surrounding the ASCAR branding. For 2003, the series adopted the Days of Thunder name, an obvious reference to the 1990 Tom Cruise NASCAR film. On track, the standout driver was Ben Collins. Years before he became widely known as one of the drivers behind the Stig on Top Gear, Collins dominated the 2003 season. He won 6 of the 13 races and set a Rockingham Series lap record with an average speed of approximately 154 miles an hour. The championship finale reportedly attracted 31,000 spectators. From the outside, those numbers suggested the formula might actually be working, but the finances told a different story. Rockingham continued spending heavily on entertainment in an attempt to draw larger crowds. One particularly ambitious booking was rapper 50 Cent for a 2004 race. The strategy was expensive, and the racing itself risked becoming secondary to the concerts surrounding it. At the same time, the series was losing some of the recognizable drivers that had helped establish it. Jason Plato returned to the BTCC, Nicholas Manassian did not defend his title, and the costs involved in maintaining the operation were difficult to justify.
I knew that was going to happen. That's what I said earlier. Like, the people in the BTCC, they would go back to the respective races because they're already established in that sort of section and probably earning more money there. I don't know. But they have the full time going on over there.
The German races were eventually dropped, leaving the championship only dependent on Rockingham. For 2004, the ASCAR identity disappeared entirely, and the series became the Days of Thunder Racing Series. And then it changed again. In 2005, it became the Stock Car Speed Association, or SCSA. SCSA events were promoted as Thunder Sundays, with the stock car racing sharing the program with pickup truck racing and extensive off-track entertainment.
That's
a typical
not bad.
2005 Thunder Sunday could include 2 stock car races, 2 pickup truck races, motorcycle demonstrations, drifting, stunt driving, passenger rides, a fun fair, and a live concert. There was even another attempt to strengthen the connection with America. SCSA developed links with the American Speed Association, and organizers promoted opportunities for drivers to potentially race in the United States, but the underlying problems hadn't gone away. By 2006 and 2007, entry numbers were falling. The cars themselves were also aging. Years of oval racing, crashes, and repairs had taken their toll. Without a major influx of money or new equipment, maintaining a healthy field size became pretty difficult.
Oh, that's so sad.
In September,
it actually sounds like fun, that 2025 version. Different kind of cars, different events, got the drifting and all sorts going on. I would have loved to go there. That's my kind of jam. Watch a little bit of racing, a little bit of shenanigan, and enjoy the rest of the day. Brilliant.
2007, the championship status of SCSA was removed by Britain's Motorsports Association. Colin White, one of the drivers who had been involved since the early days, won what became the final recognized oval championship. There was one final attempt to keep the cars alive. In 2008, the remaining stock cars moved toward road course racing as part of the VSR series, competing under the VSR V8 trophy name. But by that point, the original dream was all over. ASCAR had been created to bring large-scale American oval racing to Europe, but without a strong oval calendar, there wasn't much left of that original concept. The remaining machinery eventually became associated with other European V8 and late model racing efforts, and ASCAR quietly disappeared. Ironically, another attempt to bring American-style stock car racing to Europe was beginning at almost exactly the same time.
Imagine that.
In 2008, Jerome and Anne Galpin established the race car series in France. Unlike ASCAR, it initially focused primarily on European road courses, rather than trying to recreate NASCAR's oval model. The series expanded internationally in 2010 and became the Euro Race Car Series.
That's a good idea. Just introduce slowly. Let everybody catch up. And then, kaboom. Change it up on them.
Then in 2012, NASCAR officially partnered with the organization. It
There
became
you go.
the Euro Race Car NASCAR Touring Series and ultimately evolved in the championship now known as the NASCAR Euro Series. ASCAR wasn't an early version of Euro NASCAR. The two championships have separate histories, and NASCAR itself was never officially behind ASCAR, but the comparison is hard to avoid. More than a decade before NASCAR officially established a European championship, ASCAR had already tried to prove that American-style stock car racing could work on the other side of the Atlantic. It had purpose-built cars, major ovals, television coverage, tens of thousands of spectators, and drivers from the BTCC, kart, Formula 3000, rallying, and motorcycle racing. The problem was making all of it financially sustainable. ASCAR relied heavily on Rockingham, a track which was always on shaky ground financially, struggled to expand its calendar, never became the genuine pathway to NASCAR that some drivers hoped it could be, and spent enormous amounts of money trying to turn race weekends into major entertainment events. By the time Euro NASCAR found a more sustainable model running on road courses, ASCAR was already gone.
It's already
Today,
out of there.
both the championship and the original Rockingham Oval have disappeared from active top-level motorsport. But for a few years in the early 2000s, thousands of British fans went to a huge oval in Northamptonshire and watched V8 powered stock cars race at more than 150 miles an hour.
Nice.
It wasn't NASCAR, but it
was
might have been the closest
ASCAR.
Britain ever came to building its own version of it.
It wasn't that bad. I feel like NASCAR watched them, or the people behind the European series watched what ASCAR was doing and took notes, right? And they decided to make it better. They took their faults and implemented it in a different way so that they were successful and got the backing from NASCAR. If it wasn't for ASCAR, they probably wouldn't have been the European one that happened, because they paved the way in a sense. So they gotta thank them for it, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, right? What a shame. It sounded like it would have been an interesting event to go to. Like, all the craziness that was happening would have been fantastic. I would have loved it. But yeah, anyway, that was a good one. I enjoyed that. I'll see y'all in the next one. Take it easy. Goodbye. Peace.